Thank you very much, Steph, and good afternoon, everyone. I will start with a statement that the President of the General Assembly has just made. She sent her deep condolences to the peoples and governments of Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Malawi, which were affected by heavy floods caused by the passage of cyclone Idai through southern Africa. The PGA has also expressed her solidarity with the people and the government of Indonesia over flash floods in the province of Papua, which affected thousands of residents during the weekend. Mrs. Espinosa is following reports closely and is very sad to hear that over 150 people have died in Southern Africa and more than 70 people lost their lives, and dozens are missing in Indonesia due to these natural disasters. She praised all efforts made by UN agencies and funds to help the victims at this very difficult time. And this morning, the PGA recorded 2 video messages for upcoming events, which she will be, unfortunately, unable to attend. As we speak, Ms. Espinosa is meeting a representative of the Cuban Women Federation member, Ms. Teresa Amarelle Bue. This afternoon, the PGA will have informal consultations on the alignment of ECOSOC, and will have a separate bilateral meeting with the Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs of Costa Rica, Ms. Lorena Aguilar Rebelo. As you know, Ms. Espinosa will leave for Argentina later today to take part in the UN Conference on South-South Cooperation, which will take place from the 20th to the 22nd of March in the country's capital, Buenos Aires. This is all from us, and now I'm happy to take your questions if you have any. 22nd of March. Yeah, the 20th of March this week to 22nd of March. Yes, that's the conference in Buenos Aires. Stefano, you have,
yes.
And then afterwards, Errol. Go ahead, Stefano.
Yes, it's again about the human rights activist, lawyer, Nasir Sotoudeh. Did the President General Assembly Espinosa in these days that there's been the CSW 63 and we had a lot of delegation, there was any situation where this came up, maybe with the Iranian delegation, if there was any time that the President of the General Assembly addressed an issue that that a lot of people, organizations are concerned in this moment?
No, you're right. It has been a very special week. I mean, last week and this week on women's issues here in the House. I'm not aware of any particular meeting that the President held on the case that you just mentioned, but we can say that she focused on the importance of human rights defenders having freedom to do their work, and freedom free of harassment, of any other impediment to their work. So that we can say, of course, that has been the position of the President of the General Assembly. But in regard of this specific case, I'm not aware of any meeting on this, but I can look into it for you, okay? Thank you, Stefano. Errol, go ahead.
Thank you, Monica. Just as I asked the previous question to Stefan, and as he said, the killer in New Zealand bears the utmost responsibility. Do you hear me?
He said what? Can you just repeat?
The killer in New Zealand bears the utmost responsibility for the act. My question is, since he in his manifesto mentioned world leaders, including the sitting President of the United States, is the President of General Assembly, either by herself or by the exchange of views with the member states or so, would like to address that from that point of view, expressing even more concern or whatever in regard to that?
The PJ addressed these horrible attacks immediately after it happened. She condemned the attacks. She sent her condolences. She said that her thoughts were with the victims, with the families of, the bereaved families, but also the people and the government of New Zealand in this very difficult time. Any form, Errol, of intolerance, of bigotry, of hate or hatred, and I mean hate speech that we see nowadays is condemned. This has no space in our society nowadays, and this has to be condemned. And of course, the perpetrators brought to justice. And go ahead.
Just
Please.
a quick follow-up.
No, please follow up.
I mean, I have to make a point here, and before I make a question. Winston Churchill once says, it's easy to love all the mankind, but it's most difficult to love the first neighbor. In reverse, what he meant actually, it's easy to be a more general in condemnation, but it's very difficult, obviously, to you to be more particular in condemnation. I mean, the killer had inspiration from the Balkan nationalists. Then he mentioned a sitting president. And why you are not able to address that from that certain point of view? Not to be sort of general, but more particular.
No, I don't think in any way, shape, or form we are being general. We are talking specifically about this heinous attack, this abhorrent attack. It's a crime. We sent the PJ, in her capacity of the President of the General Assembly, send her condolences to the people of New Zealand, to the bereaved families. We are not being generalistic. However, there is now an investigation in place, and I think in the next days or weeks, we will be clearer what happened there, what motivated this heinous crime. But for us right now, our thoughts are with the families who are going through a terrible time, people who were in a house of worship where they should be safe, and they are attacked in this completely senseless act of extreme violence. And I think we should keep that in mind, that we are thinking of these people and hoping that this has no space in our society, and that this will be, that these people didn't die in vain. And this will be tackled and eradicated from our society nowadays, because it's an evil that is doing harm to us as individuals, to societies, entire societies, and taking lives, innocent lives, who should today be among us and not dead. But thank you very much, and I see you tomorrow about the same time. The PJ is traveling, but we'll stay here. Thank you. Welcome back, James. Thank you.